The Blood Dome was not a place for mercy. It was built for screams, for blood, and for entertainment. 10,000 alien voices roared in the giant metal stadium. Bright lights flashed. Cameras hovered. The show was about to begin. A metal gate opened with a loud grinding sound. Out walked a human, a girl. She looked small, maybe 18 years old. No armor, no weapons. Just a black suit torn at the sleeves. Her hands were bare, her eyes calm. She didn't wave.
Ow.
She didn't look scared. She didn't say a word. The crowd laughed. Some threw things. Others made bets on how fast she would die. In the command box high above, a green-skinned alien commander leaned forward. "This is the one Earth gave us," said, sounding disappointed. "Is this a joke?" Beside him, a tall cyborg with glowing red eyes shook his head. "No joke. That's the last human prisoner. Her name is Ava," the commander scoffed. "She lasts 10 seconds. Down below, across the arena, another gate opened. From the shadows stepped a huge creature, a four-armed gladiator from the planet Vorga. He was covered in armor, his skin like thick rock. His teeth were yellow. His fists were twice the size of Ava's head. The crowd cheered wildly. A loud voice echoed through the arena. "Ladies and beings, welcome to Blood Dome." On the left, Ava, the human. On the right, Vorzak, the destroyer. Crowd screamed the alien's name. Ava didn't move. A giant screen showed a timer. 0 o'clock begin. The voice shouted. The timer started. Vorzak roared and charged, his heavy feet shaking the ground. He swung both his upper fists at Ava, and his lower two right after. Fast, brutal. But Ava ducked under the first swing, stepped to the side, then spun. In one fluid motion, she touched the side of Vorzak's neck. He froze mid-punch, then dropped to his knees, then fell flat on his. Face silence, the crowd didn't cheer. They didn't move. The timer stopped at 0:14 seconds. The announcer stuttered, "UA. Winner. Ava." Still, no cheers. Even the commander stood in silence. "What just happened?" He whispered. "She touched his nerve point," said the cyborg, zooming in on the screen. "She knew exactly where to strike. No one trained like this anymore." "But she's human," said the commander. "Her people lost the war. They're extinct." The cyborg stared at Ava. "Maybe. Not all of them." Back in the arena, Ava looked around. Her breathing was slow. Her face was still calm. The blood on her hand wasn't hers. She glanced up once at the camera drone above her. For just 1 second, her lips moved not to speak, but to exhale softly, like she had expected this. Security bots rolled toward her. They aimed weapons. She didn't run. One of them scanned her. No threat detected. Combat complete. The bot stopped, then turned and rolled away. Ava stood alone in the red dust. Her shadow stretched long behind her as the light shifted. Slowly, she turned and walked back toward the gate she came from, still silent, still calm, in the shadows of the arena. Some aliens stood frozen. Others started whispering. She didn't fight. She just ended it. "She's not normal." Did you see her eyes? Like she wasn't even trying? The commander finally spoke. "I want her tested, scanned, sliced open if needed. I want to know what she is." The cyborg looked at him. "You think she's a weapon?" said the commander slowly. "We just gave the galaxy a new kind of show, and I want her to give us more." That night, in a small cell deep, under the Blood Dome, Ava sat alone on the floor. Her hands rested on her knees. She stared at the wall. Outside, soldiers watched her through a camera. "She hasn't eaten," one said. "She hasn't spoken either," the other replied. "Weird." "Girl?" Inside the cell, Ava blinked slowly. She could still hear the silence of the arena in her mind. Not fear, not anger, just silence. Exactly what she wanted. And tomorrow, they would send in more fighters. She closed her eyes. Let them. The Blood Dome had never been this quiet before. For 10 years it had echoed with roars, cheers, and screams. Fighters died every day. It was entertainment. Show. a reminder of alien strength. But today, no one laughed. Ava, the human girl, had defeated the strongest Vorgan warrior in just 14 seconds with one silent touch. And she didn't even smile. In the high control room, Commander Rekthal paced the floor. His eyes twitched. Play the footage again. The holoscreen replayed the moment. Ava ducking, spinning, touching the exact spot on Warzak's thick neck, his massive body crashing into the dirt. His eyes wide even in death. She didn't flinch, the commander said. She didn't breathe heavy. It's like she expected. The cyborg, Korix, stood nearby, his voice steady. She wasn't surprised. She didn't fight for survival. She fought like it was. A message. Commander Rekthal turned to him. A message to who? Korix zoomed in on her eyes in the footage. To everyone. In the deep levels of the blood dome, Ava sat on her cell floor again. No bed, no chair, just cold metal and 4 gray walls. She hadn't spoken since her arrival. No questions. No complaints. She simply waited. And the galaxy couldn't stop watching her. On dozens of alien news channels, her fight was replayed again and again. Analysts guessed how she moved so fast. Scientists wondered if she was enhanced. Soldiers feared her silence. She's a weapon in human skin, one newsbot said. Another called her Death's Whisper. Still Ava said nothing. 2 days later, the second match was announced. This time, wasn't one opponent. It was 3. They were called the Trifong's Deadly Alien Hunters, from 3 different species. Fast, sharp, ruthless. Each one had survived 50 fights in the Blood Dome Commander. Rekthal smiled now. This time, the human won't walk away untouched. Korix said nothing. He simply recorded everything. The arena lights flared again. Thousands returned to watch. Many came hoping to see her fall. Yes. Others came hoping to see how far she could. Go. The gate opened. Ava walked out. Same clothes. Same calm face. Still no weapon. Across from her, the Trifong stood ready. One licked his knife. Another cracked his fingers. The third hissed loudly, pointing at her. The crowd roared. The timer appeared on the sky screen. 0 o'clock begin. The Trifangs attacked at once. One leaped toward her, blades out. Another charged low. Third disappeared in a blur of motion. Ava stood still until the last moment. Then she moved smooth, like water. She dodged the first strike, grabbed the second attacker's arm and twisted. A sickening snap. The alien dropped, screaming. The third Trifang reappeared behind her, slashing with a curved blade. Ava didn't turn. She ducked low, swept his legs, and slammed her elbow into his throat, 2 down. The first attacker hesitated now. He looked at his partners on the ground, and then he ran. The crowd gasped. A fighter, running. The timer read 029. The announcer didn't know what to say in the command box. Rekthal smashed his fist into the console. She's making fools of us. Wax just watched the screen, his voice low. She didn't win. They lost. In the medbay, one of the surviving Trifangs was interviewed. She didn't just fight, he whispered. She knew us. Our weak points. Our movements. She studied us. The interviewer leaned closer. How? She never met you, Trifong shivered. She doesn't need to. That night, Ava sat in her cell again. Outside, more guards watched. Her now. Some had stun rifles. Others just stared nervously. One guard whispered to another, she hasn't eaten. Doesn't sleep. She's like a machine. Inside, Ava pressed her fingers against the wall in a pattern tap, 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 pause, dot, 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 tap, tap. A code, a signal, somewhere in the blood dome's lower levels. A small light blinked. It was a hidden sensor, long forgotten. No one knew it still worked, but Ava did, and someone far away received the message. The next morning, a message came through the dome's system. Unknown source. No trace. It read, she's active. Begin Phase 2. Begin Phase 2. Commander Rekthal stared at the screen, confused. What phase? He demanded. What is this? Korix turned his red eyes toward him. It means she's not alone. The blood dome had changed. In just 2 fights, Ava had silenced crowds, broken warriors, and left commanders nervous. The fans still filled the seats. But now, they didn't cheer when she entered. They whispered. They watched. They waited. And today, 3 new challengers stood ready. Not random fighters. Not simple killers. These were legends. "Bring in the Skull Brothers," Commander Rectal had said that morning. Let the crowd see her scream this time. The Skull Brothers were famous across the galaxy. Tall, armored, and brutal. They never fought for money, only for fun. One of them, Grelk, had once torn an enemy in half with his bare hands. The second, Varn, loved to crush skulls. Slowly, the third. Jexo was the smallest, but the smartest. He used poison and tricks, and he never stopped smiling. "They'll make her bleed," Rectal whispered. "They'll break the silence." Corix only replied, "They might try, but she doesn't play their game." That evening, the arena lights dimmed. Fire rose from the ground. The crowd buzzed with excitement, tension, and fear. A deep voice boomed across the blood dome, and now the human returns for her third match. The gate opened. Ava stepped out. No armor. No weapon. No fear. She didn't look around. Didn't react to the noise. Across from her, the Skull Brothers entered together. Grelk cracked his knuckles. "You're just a bug," Varn laughed. "Let's see what color her blood is." Jexo grinned wide. "Careful, brothers. She might cry." The 3 circled her slowly, laughing. Ava didn't move, didn't blink, didn't speak. The crowd watched, holding their breath. Timer, 0 o'clock begin. Grelk rushed first, roaring, swinging a massive hammer toward her ribs. Ava stepped to the side. The hammer slammed into the ground, cracking the floor. She ducked under Grelk's next swing and kicked the back of his knee. His leg folded. He dropped. She didn't finish him. Varn jumped in from behind with a long blade. Ava bent backward. The blade sliced the air above her nose. She spun and struck Varn's wrist. The blade flew into the sand. GXO threw something. From a distance, a tiny needle, laced with paralytic poison. It hit Ava in the arm. The crowd gasped. She looked at the needle, then pulled it out, dropped it. Still silent, still calm, the Skull Brothers were angry now. They attacked together. All 3 at once. Blades, fists, poison. The fight became a blur. But Ava never stepped back. She flowed between attacks, redirecting their strength, using their own speed against them. Within 1 minute, Grelk lay unconscious. Varn was breathing hard, blood dripping from his nose. Jexo had stopped smiling. "She's reading us," Jexo shouted. "She knows every move." Varn growled. "She's cheating. She's winning," Ava said softly. The entire crowd froze. Her voice, the first word she'd spoken in the arena, and it hit harder than any punch. The timer read, 1:22. Jexo lunged one last time with a scream. Ava caught his wrist twisted, flipped him over her shoulder. His head hit the ground. He didn't get. Varn looked around, saw Grelk down, Jexo down. Only him left. He dropped to his knees. "I yield," he muttered. The blood dome went completely silent. Then the screen flashed. Winner. Ava back in the command box. Rectal gritted his teeth. She spoke. "That voice, did you hear it? I want full scans right now. Something's not right." Corix nodded. Agreed. "It's time to bring her in." But Ava didn't return to her cell. As she walked out of the arena, she was taken down a different hallway. Metal doors closed behind her. She was led to a cold lab room. White lights. No windows. For scientists waited. Machines beeped softly. "Sit," one said. Ava sat. They placed metal cuffs on her wrists, scanned her head, drew her blood. "She has implants," one whispered, "but not ours. These are human tech, old but advanced. I've never seen this design." Another screen lit up. Lines of human code appeared. Encrypted, one scientist tried to decode it. Suddenly, the power flickered. Lights blinked. The machines froze. Then, from one of the monitors, a voice spoke. Not Ava's. A deep, male voice. She is not your puppet. She is the key. The scientist froze. Then the screen went black. Later that night, Corix reviewed the footage. He paused the recording on Ava's face just before she spoke during the fight. Zoomed in. Her lips were forming a word. Even before the sound came, she had planned that moment. It was no accident. "Who are you really?" he muttered. Meanwhile, deep, below the blood dome, in an abandoned sector, someone else watched Ava's fight. Not an alien, not a machine, a small child with human eyes. He smiled. "She started," he whispered. "She remembers." For the first time in 10 years, the word human spread across the stars like a storm. They were supposed to be extinct, crushed in the war, forgotten. But now, one was winning in the galaxy's deadliest arena, and she wasn't just winning. She was changing the game. Every screen in the blood dome showed her name. A VA3 wins -0. Salians placed bets in silence. Warlords watched her videos frame by frame. Whispers spread fast, not about her strength, but about her silence. And what it meant. They called her the Quiet Flame, the last human blade, the ghost of Earth. But Ava didn't care. She sat in her new cell, upgraded, larger, more secure, and stared at the wall. She waited. She listened, far above. In the control tower, Commander Rekthal shouted at the scientists. "She's hiding something. I want." That brain scanned again. One of them shook his head. "We tried. Her implants blocked everything. And there's something else." He placed a photo on the table, a screenshot from the fight with the Skull Brothers. Looked closely at her eye. Right before she spoke. Rekthal leaned in. A symbol flickered there, faint, glowing a small triangle inside a circle. "That's..." He paused. "That's human military code." The scientist nodded. "Project Silent Echo. Top secret. Long buried." But how could she know that? She wasn't even born when the war ended. Corix stepped forward. Maybe she was. Everyone turned to him. Corix stared at the screen. What if she wasn't made to fight in the war, but after it? That same night, Ava stood in her cell, hands behind her back. A low beep echoed from the corner wall, hidden beneath the paint. A thin metal crack opened. A tiny drone flew out. It hovered before her. Then a calm voice came through it. "Echo. Team is alive. Waiting for your word." Ava whispered just 2 words. "Not yet." The drone vanished in the lower halls of the blood dome. Forgotten places twisted with dust and rust. Guards didn't patrol there. Lights flickered. Pipes hissed. And in one dark room, small group of humans huddled in silence. 5 of them all. Survivors. All waiting. A woman with cybernetic arms turned to the group. She made contact. "Phase 3 is close." Tall man nodded. "Then we must prepare. The dome will fall." The next day, Ava's 4th match was announced. This time, it wasn't fighters. It was a beast. A 12-foot monster bred only for killing the Gort. No thoughts. No words. Just claws and teeth. The dome hadn't used it in years. Too dangerous. Too wild, but Rekthal smiled coldly. "Let's see her survive this." When Ava walked into the arena, the crowd was louder than before, not cheering, but nervous. The ground shook as the gates opened. Chains rattled. Then came the roar. The Gorthak had 6 limbs. Thick black skin, eyes that glowed red. Its breath steamed in the air. Its claws scraped the metal. Ava stood still. No fear, just silence. The timer started. 0 o'clock, the beast charged. Dust flew. Screams rose from the crowd. Ava sprinted toward it fast. Controlled at the last second, she slid under its swinging claw, jumped onto its back, placed 2 fingers at the back of its neck. A hiss. The creature froze mid-step, then collapsed, just like Vorzak. The crowd was dead silent again. Time on the screen, 0:16. Ava stood atop the beast. She didn't speak. She didn't smile. She raised one finger to the sky. and drew the same triangle circle symbol in the air. Cameras caught it, broadcasted it, and across the galaxy, symbol lit afire. Old human soldiers hiding in other systems saw it. Civilians in prison camps whispered. The message was clear. You're not gone. In the Blood Dome Command Center, alarms blared. One by one, systems went dark, files wiped, doors locked. R.E. Cathell shouted. What's happening? A voice echoed through the speakers. Calm, clear, human. You wanted a show? You're in it. Now back in her cell, Ava sat down, eyes closed, across the stars. Humans were waking up, and they were listening. The Blood Dome had always been a symbol of power, a place where aliens crushed the weak, where silence meant fear and death was entertainment. But now, silence meant something else. It meant her, Ava, the girl who never smiled. The girl who ended fights in seconds. The girl who drew the old human war symbol, the one the galaxy had erased. And the dome was starting to shake after the fight with the Gorthok. I think changed. The crowd didn't cheer anymore. They didn't even blink. They stared. Even the most violent aliens, warriors with blood-stained claws, now sat quietly when Ava appeared. Rumor spread across the stars. She killed the beast with a touch. No weapon, no fear. She drew the mark of Silent Echo, the lost human strike team. She's not fighting to win. She's fighting to wake them. Inside the control center, Commander Rekthal was sweating, his claws dug into the table. As screen after screen showed Ava sitting silently in her cell. She's turning the dome into a message board. He barked. He slammed his fist. I want her isolated. No tech, no light, no contact. Cork, standing still beside him, gave a single nod. But he didn't move right away. He was watching Ava too, and deep in his memory core, he remembered something. A scream, a war, a child with those same eyes. He blinked the memory away. Too dangerous, too close. Down in the lowest level of the dome, where lights flickered and metal walls groaned, the hidden human survivors prepared. The woman with cyber arms tightened a small black vest. She's done her part, she whispered. The tall man checked a holomap of the dome's structure. All security networks are shaking. Once the command goes out, a third, younger human interrupted. We wait for Ava's signal. Just like the plan. And as if on cue, the wall blinked. A triangle, a circle. Then the number 5 inside her. Darkened, isolated chamber. Ava sat with her eyes closed. The lights were gone. The cameras were off. Guards outside watched her through thick glass. She hasn't moved in hours. One guard whispered. The other shook his head. She's planning something. She doesn't eat. Doesn't sleep. I think she's not even suddenly. Ava's eyes opened. She stood up, walked to the wall, and placed her palm on the cold metal. She whispered, Begin. All across the dome, things started to break. Doors stopped responding. Security panels blinked out. Screens went dark, then flashed one word, awakening. In the command tower, alarms screamed. What is this? Rekthal shouted. One of the technicians cried out, She's hijacking the system from inside. She's just a fighter. Rekthal shouted. KORR-IX finally spoke. She's not just anything. He turned to Rekthal. She was built for this. In the arena itself, the crowd sat waiting for the next show. But instead of lights and fire, the gates burst open. Smoke poured in, and humans walked out, fully armed. Fully ready, the crowd gasped. Then someone shouted, That's impossible. There are no humans left. But the humans didn't answer. They spread out, calm and focused, weapons lowered, but ready. And in the center of it all, one gate opened last. Ava stepped into the arena. She wasn't wearing chains, she wasn't guarded, and she wasn't silent anymore. She looked straight into the nearest camera drone and spoke. This is not a performance. This is a warning. We are still here. The alien guards rushed in, trying to stop the humans. But for the first time, they were outmatched. Every human had been trained, rebuilt, programmed to survive. Ava didn't even move. She simply walked forward as the humans handled everything, one by one. Control towers lost signal. One by one, systems dropped offline. The dome trembled in his final attempt. Thal activated the dome's emergency lockdown, one that was never used. The walls began to seal. Gas released. Electric panels flashed red. But then, the main screen in his control room flickered. Ava appeared on it behind her. Smoke and fire danced. And she said one sentence: "You wanted to control silence. Now, silence controls you." Rectal froze. Then the whole command tower went black. Somewhere far away, deep space, an old satellite picked up Ava's final broadcast. The signal spread faster than anyone expected, and all across the galaxy. Humans hiding in shadows stood up. The quiet ones, the forgotten ones, the ones who remembered the blood. Dome had fallen silent. No screams, no cheers, no orders. Only the hum of broken machines. And the sound of freedom beginning. Ava stood in the center of the arena, surrounded by the freed human fighters. Smoke drifted behind her. Alarms still rang in the distance, but she wasn't listening to them. She was listening to something deeper, far. Above, in orbit, hundreds of ships floated in silence. Warlord vessels, pirate flags, elite viewers who paid to watch humans die in the arena. Now they watched in fear. They saw the humans rise. They saw the dome burn, and most of all, they saw the symbol Ava had drawn in blood on the dome floor, the circle and triangle silent echo inside the broken control tower. Commander Rekthal gasped as he crawled through smoke. Monitors were dead, his guards gone. Korix missing. He grabbed an emergency cum and screamed, "Destroy her. Blast the entire planet. Wipe it clean." No answer then. Static turned to voice, a human voice. Too late. In hidden prisons across the galaxy, slaves looked up as forbidden. Screens lit up. Each one showed Ava's face, and her voice spoke. "You were told we were extinct. You were told humans broke, but they forgot. We adapt, remember, and now we rise." In the mines of Cyrus III, a boy dropped his pickaxe and ran toward the gates. In a biotech lab on Xylon Prime, a hidden girl touched her wrist and unlocked an old implant. In a war camp on Delta C, a dozen human veterans stood up in perfect silence. The signal had reached them, a coded call, buried deep in Ava's voice patterns, a trigger, the reawakening. Back on the blood dome surface, the last alien security squad gathered near the power core. The Gorthon commander shouted, "We'll blow the core, and the humans, and the dome with them." But before they could move, a blast hit the wall behind them. Ava walked in alone. No guns, no shield. She looked at them. "Don't," she said softly. The Gorthon aimed a cannon at her chest. "You're just one girl." Ava tilted. Her head, "No, I'm the echo of thousands." Suddenly the floor lights glowed blue. The core's control panel locked. Override code accepted. Shutdown in progress. The aliens stared at the screen in shock. "How?" Ava stepped forward. "You built your system on a stolen signal? You forgot who created that signal." Then she raised her hand, and the entire core shut off. Lights faded. The dome's last weapon was gone. Deep underground, the hidden human base opened its final room. Inside, ship. Sleek, black. Human tech from before the war. No one had seen ships like it in years. The tall human leader placed a hand on its hull. "Echo 1, said. The woman with the cyber arms stepped beside him. "We activate it now?" He nodded. "It's time to bring Ava home." Meanwhile, far in deep space, in the core of the old Federation wreckage, an AI woke up. It had been sleeping for decades. It blinked once. Then it spoke. Signal received. Echo protocol green-lighted. Dozens of stealth satellites lit up. Hundreds of AI-controlled probes turned toward Earth's ruins. Humanity wasn't gone. It was hiding, waiting now. The call had been made, and the galaxy would never be the same. Ava stood on the edge of the dome's tower, watching the stars. Her face was calm. But inside, Her mind was racing. She heard the voices of Echo survivors, the quiet code flowing through her implants. The hidden instructions in her DNA. They had locked her mind once, used her as a showpiece, made her bleed for entertainment now. She was the loudest signal in the galaxy. Just then, Kurix appeared behind her, burned, bruised, but still functional. "I should stop you," he said. Ava didn't turn. "You won't," she said. Kurix walked forward. "You're right, I saw what they did. Remember Earth, the glass storms, the cities burning. I saw your kind fight even after your leaders gave up." Ava finally looked at him. "You were there?" she asked. He nodded once. "I was assigned. To clean up? I saw what they did to children like you." Ava's voice was steady. "We weren't broken, no," Kurix said. "You were programmed to survive." Then he stepped aside. "Go," he said. "Out. Let them hear what silence really sounds like." The blood dome was silent now. No lights, no cheers, no chains. The arena that once killed thousands has become a grave for an empire's pride. But Ava was no longer standing in the ashes. She was flying above them. Aboard the Echo 1, the old human stealth ship, Ava sat in the command chair. Around her were the last of the hidden Echo survivors' warriors, engineers, and ghosts from a forgotten war. The ship was quiet, smooth, dark like the void. The stars stretched ahead, and for the first time in years, Ava was free. But freedom was not the mission. She had to finish the signal. In the back of the ship, a small black device glowed blue. The Echo beacon. It held all the data. Names of war criminals, locations of secret labs, and coordinates of the vault, a station built to erase all human records. The galaxy had tried to bury the truth. Now, Ava would dig it back up. She stared at the map. A blinking red dot pulsed in Sector IX-7. The vault, that was where it all began, where the first test subjects were born, where Ava herself was programmed to be silent, a place where minds were wiped, where voices were removed, where humans were rewritten into weapons. Ava clenched her fists. "I'm going back." Across the galaxy, warlords and alien kings were panicking. Destroy the signal, find the ship, silence the humans again. But it was too late. The Echo 1 could not be tracked, and the signal could not be stopped. On board a massive dreadnought in the Red Sector, the supreme ruler of the consortium, Veldroth, slammed his clawed hand on the table. She was supposed to be a ghost. "Just a test model." His advisors trembled. One of them spoke quietly. "Sir, what if Silent Echo was never truly shut down?" Veldroth growled. "Then we'll erase it now. We still have the vault. If she tries to reach it, another screen." Blinked. A voice came through. Ava's voice. "We are the children of silence. You used us, broke us, buried us. Now we rise. Not to scream, but to remind you what quiet revenge sounds like." Back on Eco 1, the ship came out of warp. In front of them floated the vault. It wasn't a station. It was a fortress, thick metal walls, dozens of autocannons, guard ships circling it like sharks. But Ava didn't flinch. She turned to the pilot. "Approach slow. Activate Ghost Shield." The cyberarm woman smirked. "You're going in alone?" Ava nodded. "They won't expect me. They never do." The tall human placed a hand on her shoulder. "If this is the last part, we'll cover your exit." Ava didn't look back. "I'm not leaving until the files are open, till the galaxy knows." She left the ship through a silent pod, drifting through the dark like a shadow. Inside the pod, Ava stared at her reflection. She remembered the old arena, the chains, the blood, the audience who laughed as she bled. She whispered, "This is for the ones who never escaped." Inside the vault, guards patrolled the halls, cold, mechanical, lifeless. They weren't soldiers. They were machines programmed to erase memory. But Ava wasn't here to forget. She was here to unlock. She moved fast, slipping past sensors, disabling drones, never firing a single shot. Her implants guided her. Left turn. Downstairs, behind the old steel doors, there it was. The core room inside, rows of glowing data dash crystals, and in the center, her own file. Subject: AVA-19 status, terminated tags. Silent Takeo, memory cleansed. WA Poenai Sadeshi, touched the file. Her body twitched. Her eyes flickered. Memories poured in. She saw Earth burning. She saw her mother's face. She saw the day they removed her voice. Tears welled in her eyes, but she smiled. The first real smile in years. I remember now. Outside, the vault's alarm roared. They had found the pod. Enemy forces were closing in. Ava grabbed the beacon and slammed it into the vault core. The ship above caught the signal, and instantly, files were burrowed state. ATST, AT. Across the stars dot. 2. Every screen, every date net, every prison, every capital, the truth was out. Veldroth watched in horror as his crimes scrolled across the screen. The breeding projects, the mind wipes, human experiments. Billions saw it. Some cried, some broke their chains, some reached for weapons. The galaxy began to shift. Ava stood in the fire as the vault began to burn. She closed her eyes. The mission was done, but just. As flames rose around her, the ceiling exploded. A dropship descended. The Echo One had come back for her. Her people never left anyone behind. She leaped aboard, and as the ship vanished into space, the vault collapsed behind her. The vault is gone. Destroyed, the secrets of the warlords now burned across every screen in the galaxy, and the name, Ava once forgotten, now echoed in every corner of space. To the powerful, she was a threat. To the broken, she was hope. To the survivors, she was proof. Humans were never extinct. Inside the stealth ship Eco One, Afa sat in silence, not from fear, but from purpose. Her mission was almost complete. But one target remained, Veldroth. Alien who funded the dome. The one who ordered the memory wipes. The one who watched children die with a smile. He hid behind fleets, behind walls, behind lies. But now, he had nowhere left to hide. The ship hovered at the edge of the consortium's throne world, a planet wrapped in defense shields and battle. Cruisers, you sure about this? The tall soldier asked Ava. She nodded once. They wanted silence, she said softly. Oh, they'll drown in it. A plan unfolded. Ava wouldn't attack from space. She wouldn't start a war. She would walk in. Unarmed, unchained, unstoppable. The echo signal was already inside the planet systems, unlocking doors, blinding cameras, shutting down weapons without a sound. She stepped into a stolen transport, black cloak hiding her face. Behind her, a small team of humans followed, each one a survivor of Silent Echo. They didn't speak, they didn't need to. In the Royal Tower, Veldroth paced like a caged animal. His advisors screamed about rebellions. His guards whispered about mutinies. And all across the city, stared at giant screens showing human resistance, Ava's face. The truth? I will erase them all. Veldroth roared. I'll turn their planet into ash. But he didn't know. Vad no planet left to lose. And now, he did. Security alerted him too late. Intruders have breached Sector Alpha. They're inside the shield. No alarms triggered. We don't know how. Veldroth reached for his weapon. Then the lights went out, and the room filled with a soft, rising hum. The silence arrived. Ava walked through the main hall, past golden statues, past alien guards now frozen in fear. She walked like death. Wearing soft footsteps, one by one, her team peeled off disabling power nodes, planting blackout charges, blocking escape routes. She kept going until finally, she stood before the doors of Veldroth's throne room. 2. Guards waited outside. They raised their weapons. Ava didn't run. She simply drew a symbol on the wall. The guards stared, then slowly lowered their weapons and stepped aside. Inside, Veldroth turned, wild eyes flashing. You. Ava said nothing. He pointed a shaking claw at her. You were a tool, a lab rat. I built you. Ava took one step forward. No, she said quietly. You built a weapon. But you forgot what happens when the weapon remembers who she is. Veldroth fired. A bright pulse of energy blasted toward her, but Ava raised her hand, and the shot curved away, crashing into the wall. He fired again and again. Each time, her implants shimmered and redirected the shots. She kept walking. Finally, his weapon overheated and exploded in his hand. Veldroth fell to his knees. Please. Mercy. Ava stopped in front of him. She whispered, That's a human word. You never learned it. She didn't strike him. She simply took a data crystal from her belt and activated it. A hologram of every crime, every victim, every test. Played around the throne room broadcasting live. V.E. Eldroth's trial had already begun, before he even realized it. Outside, across the planet, citizens watched in silence. And slowly, they began to move. The towers of the consortium started to fall. The soldiers dropped their weapons. The labs were emptied. The chains were broken, not with war, but with truth and silence. Ava stood at the edge of the throne room window, the city. Below flickered with new light, hope behind her. Her team waited. It's done, one of them said softly. Ava nodded. Double quotes, no more shows, she said. No more cages. Now, they remember who we are. The Echo One took them back into the stars. No parades, no medals, just open sky and freedom. Months later, across the galaxy. Humans rose from hiding. They didn't ask for power. They didn't seek revenge. They rebuilt in every system. New signs appeared. Not a symbol of war, but of memory and of what silence could become in Ava. Some say she returned to Earth's ruins. Some say she disappeared into deep space. Others say she's still watching, waiting, so that no one ever forgets again. Because now, silence speaks louder than war.